Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kirioth and this is the first ever episode of the Bullshit Patrol, whereby we look at the gaming industry as a whole, be it a publisher, a developer, a certain group of fans, a certain development that we need to decide whether or not it is in fact bullshit. I had massive option paralysis for the first episode because there's so many things we could talk about, so many dodgy practices, so many dodgy people, that really I had no clue where to start. Luckily, YouTube fixed that for us because they introduced something called YouTube Heroes. And we're going to talk about that and I'll explain why it is in any way related to gaming right now. But before we go on, here is what it's all about. So that wasn't the entire video, because the entire video is just, it's about, I don't know, 8 minutes too long in that it shouldn't have existed in the first place, and I want more time than I spent watching it back in my life. It's just a terrible idea. Essentially, YouTube want you, the people, the heroes, you can become an hero today, they want you to do their moderation and curation for them. So they have various automated systems that are, generally speaking, god-awful and don't work properly, as we know from previous experience. And now they want you, the viewer, the community, the hero, Jesus Christ, to take over. They want you to do the work. They want you to flag videos, to report videos, and it all started out kind of innocent. We even saw at the start of the video, add subtitles. Great! We need subtitles. Add translations and captions. That's awesome. We need those. Those are really good community-sourced interactions. That's stuff that we genuinely need. For people who don't speak English, a lot of YouTube is, well, in English, and a lot of the best or most popular content creators are either English-speaking at the very least. Having translations so that you've got subtitles, that's fantastic. Adding captions so that, like, deaf people can actually tell what's going on, that's awesome. But then it just goes from that to report videos. If you add a caption, you get a point, and points mean prizes. If you add a subtitle, you get a point. If you help people out on the YouTube forums, then you get a point. If you report negative content, you get a point. That's where it starts to get a bit dodgy, because what is negative content? I mean, I know we've got the community guidelines that we apparently need to adhere to, although a lot of people don't and don't get affected by it whatsoever, but, you know. But what exactly is negative content? Is negative content only kind of judged by the community guidelines? Or can people just go, yeah, no, that's negative content, don't like it? I don't know what that constitutes. I don't know what that means. In the context of YouTube as a whole, negative content is an incredible blanket term that means practically nothing. So that's a problem, because you get points for reporting negative content. Now, there is a little bit of a subtext to all of this, which is that when I looked into it a bit deeper, there were little things that said if your report is found to be true, like if your report is accurate, you get a point. And we'll come on to that in a minute, because it gets worse, and more confusing, and more stupid as a whole. So, you start out, you're doing your captions, you're doing your subtitles, etc. You're reporting videos for negative content, whatever the fuck that means. Eventually, you get to the point where you can mass flag videos. So you can highlight a bunch of different videos, you can hit report on all of them at the same time. That is a terrible, awful idea, and I shouldn't really need to explain why, but I will do in a minute. You also get to the point where apparently you can do comment moderation. So, by the sounds of it, that means that someone could come into my comments on my videos and just fuck around with them and do whatever they like. They delete them, move them to the spam thing, hold them for review, God knows what. That's not good. I don't even know how else to say it. That's not a good idea. Why would you give just people who have reported videos and added subtitles the power to do that? Reporting a video for being, say, abuse, like for instance, let's take an example. You see a video, It is literally a bunch of guys beating the shit out of someone. You're like, that's not appropriate, that is not on, we can't have that, that is against the community guidelines. You report that video. Excellent, well done you. That is what it is there for. However, how many people are going to use it for that? How many people are instead going to go, I don't like this guy's review of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, he didn't like it, therefore he's an arsehole, I'm going to report his video. Because it happens. It happens constantly. The reporting system, the flag system for YouTube is absolutely dreadful, and it is constantly abused by damn near everyone. Every single YouTuber, big and small, at some point has had videos flagged for no reason other than someone didn't like their video. And now we're going to make it so that if you do that enough times and enough of them stick, you get rewarded with the ability to flag more videos at once. The ability to faff around with other people's comment chains. How does that work? Whose idea was that? Because it's a terrible, god-awful idea that makes no sense. It makes absolutely zero sense. Let's look to bring it, to tie it in nice into the whole sphere of gaming, and especially gamers on YouTube and gaming YouTube channels. Let's look at another company that asked their community to do curation and moderation for them. I'm talking, of course, about Valve and the Greenlight program, by which you, the developer, can get your game onto Steam if enough people like it. Except that's not how it works, is it? It's a terrible program. It's a terrible system. It is abused constantly, over and over again. And we end up with developers like fucking Digital Homicide, who put like 40 Greenlight titles up at once, and like 10 of them get through, and now they're suing everyone and their mother. You end up with constant gash, recycled asset resellers just piling games through Greenlight. It's an awful system. It doesn't work. It suffers abuse constantly from developers giving out keys in exchange for people actually voting to get their game onto Steam. And YouTube have approached their community moderation by doing the same thing. Why? Why would you do that? It makes no sense. It makes literally no sense whatsoever. All you're going to achieve by doing that is by basically giving the nutters the key to the madhouse. You cannot let people just go around mass flagging videos. I don't care how many points they've accrued or how many times they've actually correctly flagged videos. There are people who will have the dedication to sit there and just constantly flag stuff that they actually don't care about, but they want to get to the point where they can really abuse it. Of course people will do that. There's always people like that. There's people like that fucking everywhere. And YouTube want to go, yeah, no, that's fine. You carry on. Just absolutely carry on with it. Do what you like. At one specific level, I think it's level 4, let me just check. Oh dear, I believe it's level 4 or level 5. You get access to YouTube themselves. You can speak to YouTube employees if you've done enough of this shit. Where's that offer for me? I'm a fucking content creator. I don't get access to YouTube employees. I don't get jack shit. Neither do the vast majority of people making content on YouTube. They don't get nothing from YouTube. They get the advertising revenue, which is garbage, and that is literally it. They get nothing else. They don't get any sort of protection from, for instance, their videos being flagged incorrectly, because their automated systems take care of that. And this is where it gets especially stupid, right? This is where it gets especially bad, especially just awful. They've already said, if you look at it, it's already kind of stated, if you get enough, when you're flagging videos, it has to be correct. You have to have flagged it correctly. Does that mean that someone's going to check this? Because if so, this whole system, which was already damn stupid and fucking abysmal to begin with, gets even worse. Because surely, if you've got enough people to double check everyone else's flags and reports, you've got enough people to do it yourself. And if you're leaving up to an automated system, how does the automated system help in any way to decide whether or not something is legitimate? Like, how does an automated system decide whether a video that has been flagged for harassment is actually harassment? Apart from looking at the title, tags and description, what's it going to do? You're not going to put, this is a video about harassment in the fucking title, are you? You're not going to put it in the description or the tags. So, how does an automated system help with that? Either the automated system just trawls those three things and makes a decision based off those, in which case it doesn't work. or it just approves every single one of the flags that is raised by a YouTube hero, in which case the system is balked and it doesn't fucking work. Or it rejects them automatically, in which case the system is balked and doesn't fucking work. Or option 4 is someone else at YouTube, an actual employee, goes in and looks at it themselves. In which case, why do you need these fucking community heroes in the first place? Like, why aren't you just doing it yourself? And the thing is, it's very easy to sit there and go, oh, you don't have much faith in humanity. Oh, maybe people won't abuse it. Fuck off. Of course they'll abuse it. People always abuse it. People get real pissy, especially about games. They get really, really pissy about games. Let's look at, for instance, No Man's Sky and the death threats that were sent to Sean Murray because that game was delayed. Let's look at Call of Duty and the fact that a developer had his life threatened because they nerfed a fucking sniper rifle, whatever it was. You telling me that these people won't be all over this shit like a rash, playing the good person for a bit, just trying to get in there so that they can start properly fucking stuff up? Of course it's going to happen. And even if YouTube do catch them, which they probably won't because it's not going to be actually looked at by real human beings, that's why they want the community to do it, because they don't want to have to hire the manpower to do it themselves. It's just going to collapse instantly. It's going to suffer horrendous abuse. Which leads me to believe that either YouTube don't give a shit and are just prepared to give it to the hands of the community and say, well, do what you like because we don't care anymore, or they're stupid enough to think this actually will work and that they've got systems in place sufficient to deal with the vast numbers of people who will try and abuse it. I don't think it's the first one because that would be bad, but I also really hope it's not the second one because that would be even worse, because they're either being willingly negligent or they're being absolutely beyond naive. I mean, we've already had endless problems with things like copyright claims, and that was only fixed recently. Up until recently, if you had your video copyright claimed, the person who filed the claim, even if it was under dispute, got all the money. It's only recently that it started to change so that you actually have it held in a different account until the dispute is settled, in which case, if you win the dispute, you actually get the earnings that you should have got in the first place. And now they're just like, ah, well, we've sorted that. But this moderation thing, this curation thing, we can't be bothered to put any effort into that. You lot do it. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's bad for creators. It's going to be bad for the community as a whole. And it's definitely going to be bad for YouTube because they're going to face a lot of backlash. The video has already got like a 99% dislike ratio. That's how bad it is. People hate this idea. And it's not just content creators who are disliking it. Like, there aren't that many of us that we can suddenly turn up and mass downvote a video or anything like that. It's just the community as a whole on YouTube has looked at this and gone, this is fucking stupid. So, don't do it. Find another way. Pay people to do it. Oh, and let's just get on to the final and most ridiculous point. You do all this work for points so that YouTube will allow you to eventually beta test their products, which is you doing beta testing. You get to do their job for them so that eventually you can do a different job for them, all for free, because it's all about them points. I don't know about you, but personally, I think this absolutely reeks of bullshit. And it's a terrible idea, and it's going to have terrible execution, and I can only hope and pray that YouTube look at the reaction that this has got and realise how utterly dreadful it is. Because otherwise, we're going to be neck deep in bullshit before very long. This has been the very first episode of the Bullshit Patrol. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Toodaloo.